I can write a command that would create a new folder that is automatically that is automatically
slower, please.
sorry
Sorry.
yeah sure so this is I'm just trying to kind of use this as an example to convey the idea of being creative when you're using a computer. So
what language are you using at the moment?
If you are using Mac or Linux, this is what you have if you open a terminal.
Yeah, so this is not evident.
Okay.
Most of the people are using just the system. They have the access. They are not using terminal. So that's why I
Good question. Yeah.
yes. So in fact, when you go to the terminal, you go to the another level of your system. You go down a little bit, and then you need to learn another logic.
I just want to understand how it works and what are you doing.
Yeah.
And why you are doing this.
And yes, because I don't know these commands. I less or more know what is
Studio is safe.
Here,
Kind of.
I took this knowledge a little bit slower, I think, than the others.
No, I mean
it's slower.
No, yeah, I think that you mentioned it for Linux and for Mac, but I think that terminal also works on Windows.
Sure, but in Windows it's different. These commands will not work in Windows. Okay. But it's like it's
yeah,
just
but the command, I think there are, if you put on Google like the command line for terminal or something like that, you will have the charts or tables of different like commands for different operating systems.
Yeah, sure.
So, because for most of the people expect of those three ladies, but that's just correct. I think they are part of the subject called Basic of Electroacoustic Music, and we have several different groups. We don't go through programming, so this is in fact the first time in this group. Some other students are part of other groups, but this ladies, we were working with video, we were working with the interactive scores, we were working with the electronic media synchronized with click, since they are playing instruments, so that was also the deal. But the rest, there are more composers dealing with the studio facility. Some of us, like William, is really inside this very much. Elliot too, but you are much more closer.
Yeah.
The same with Francesco and Miriana. So there are different levels of skill and involvement. This is and also with Deokin we are working with the spectacular, like starting from Maui. On the first semester we are dealing with certain selected subjects, more than just general programming, language. But that's really great. But I just tried, because how you can you don't know. But I know them all, and I know that they are really on different level on involvement, not interest, but involvement in the way that when we explain this on a very basic level, that's perfect. That's really great.
Yeah,
still the question is, what are we talking about and why? So
for me it's very important to kind of destroy the stereotype that writing code is something very scary and something very like only like hackers do it or something. So I think it's a very human thing, because we use language to express our ideas in code. Because code is also like language, and also so various interfaces with computers, they make sense for various things. So we have very big emphasis on this graphical interface with buttons, but we kind of often we don't use the potential of the other ways of using the computers, not because they are too complicated or something, but maybe because of some commercial market reasons or something, that they are not really rational in terms of us as users. So here, like I will try to quickly explain what happened, right? So Okay, so but also this is just an example, right? So this is not something very heavy on. But I will say I will show you next thing more interesting ones. So I just wanted to start from simple. So so yeah, this is if you run the terminal, you would get this kind of environment, and I want to show that here it's like that there is no distinction between using a computer and programming a computer, because you know, as soon as you write a command, you are already programming, and then you can create new commands based on what commands you already have for your for things that you do often and you don't want to repeat doing manually, right? So here I just, as an example, I created a new function called today that would run this command for me. So this command is just a command that shows me the date like this. So instead of writing this complicated command, I could just write today and it will give me this. But then I can use this as to ask another command to do something with it. So when I write mkadir today, I'm saying please create a new folder that is the name that the command today will give you. So now it should give me an error because there is already a folder like this. So it's just to show you that, you know, you don't have to be like super genius or knows a lot of programming stuff to use command line, and sometimes command line could save you, I don't know, 5-8 hours of stupid boring work. So that was kind of like introduction.
It's not the full like or not like. No, this is the folder with all works. So
okay, because now now I'm curious because yeah. So yesterday we were focused more on Super Collider. Have you heard about Super Collider? Maybe. So okay, maybe I will start with an example again. Maybe that will be more interesting for you in a minute.
Yes, different colors.
Znaczy ja mam taką prośbę, żebyście się Pani specjalnie nie przejmowały. To jest jeden z wielu tematów, które my podejmujemy. Ja o tym nie mówiłem, nie zapowiadałem tego wcześniej, ale to jest to mamy gościnne wykłady z kompozytorów z Lwowa i o tym akurat mówiłem, bo to tam od tygodnia, prawda, wisi tutaj u nas na ścianie i jest zapowiedź. Natomiast no, to jest bardzo cenne, żeby zobaczyć, że w sumie to nie jest trudne, tak jak nam się wszystkim wydaje. A osobną dyskusją jest, czy rzeczywiście wszyscy musimy na ten poziom schodzić. To jest ciekawe dla kompozytorów, czy też dla osób, które no, chciałyby wiedzieć, jak to tak naprawdę wszystko działa. No to się okazuje, że niewiele trzeba, żeby zejść na ten niższy poziom, gdzie możemy rzeczywiście już mieć wpływ na chociażby na media.
So now maybe one of you can because we are going to do a little experiment now.
Okay.
So can you just walk slowly towards me?
Okay.
So
and that's a camera capture.
Yes.
Yes.
So what is your theory? What is happening? Maybe I will do like this.
But intense. The music is more intense when I walk too.
Can you make it as another?
Okay, another walk.
Again?
Okay.
Okay. Just turn your head.
Okay.
No ale wiecie, dla rytmiczek to taka propozycja, to rozumiecie od razu.
Okay. Now I hear the vibrations, and when I turn my head, there's nothing. But in Warsaw there was an experiment because there was some of our specialization, and she had electronic on her body, and the concert was played by, of course, the program and her moves. It was the source of the music.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, because yeah, there is in a plan, but since we were unable to go faster during this semester, then we stopped with the
Yeah,
project
I
like this.
understand.
But Kinect was on the plan. Leapmotor was on the plan. And some
Okay.
other interactive
So,
system were
so,
in the
so
plan.
what do you think is happening?
Mm, I don't know the program, but
Mhm.
because I think it is the fault of the program you create, I think, and it is connected to Kinect,
The movement?
yes,
Okay.
movement, and to
So
some
movement
But
is
then you
one
forgot.
theory, okay? Good.
and
I will be doing something.
program and the camera catch the particular moves and it's compare it to commands
Mm-hmm.
and then it happened and then it
Okay.
happened.
Okay, it's very close. Maybe someone else wants to try and to see what to experiment with it. No, but you are dancers. I mean, you are. Maybe someone else? That? I don't know. But you know
We
already.
have exam on
Maybe
Saturday.
Katja, I don't know.
I think it's recognize my head
Properly.
because if you put
Almost.
yeah, like head
So that's
and
a little
I
bit
don't know
like
its
this, but
emotion.
in fact I'm sending.
No, no.
And
only
it has a
head.
program to
As you
And
come down,
it's
there were
recognized
several
human
face.
face. That's the point.
But then I'm not checking who responded because this is a nightmare. That when you have the really
Yeah, it's I think recognize
and then
human.
I write
And movements of
and then I
human.
write because
The head is like this one sound, when it's more my body
So,
is another sound or something like this one each.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Another theory that is closer. So now I will modify the program a little bit. That it will make it more obvious. Proszę? Okay, yeah. Anyway.
Ну, але там, може не встигне.
So you see what's the
It has a program to recognize the face or
yeah.
body.
So, okay, William knows how it works, but the
So-
question is whether we are using this option. Usually, we are rather calling some extra devices. Yeah? So this kind of, I think is a nice approach in general because we have managed just to laptop hacking. So to
Yeah.
go to the level of all those things which are naturally equipped with our laptops, and even the crash sensor, which is inside the computer, as you know, which park the disk. I remember we had
But it's not in every computer.
yeah, we have the Wojtek Kosma from Berlin. He was during the lecture he was building up the system where the computer is like a interactive object.
So you
So
use
all what is
gyroscopes
inside-
the-
yes. All what is
Wow.
inside you can use it as an interactive
That's
controller.
a nice idea.
Yes, for the
But it's
camera
more
of course,
more-
but then those sensors like temperature sensor because they are so controlling fan. My fan is now working because I'm rendering something, okay? But then you use it, you know, for sound generation, for example, okay? And all those natural environment inside the computer start to be links to your interactive piece.
Yeah, sure.
So you are using camera in this
Yeah.
in this example. You are using camera, and I see that you are using part of the face recognition algorithm,
Yeah.
which is
So
which
yeah.
is the
So
story.
what I wanted to demonstrate here is that it's so my idea about the lecture was to show similar things that exist in Python, in Super Collider, and in JavaScript. So these are three programming languages. So Super Collider is a specific programming language for sound, for music. Python is a general programming language. So So you could
Uh-huh.
use Python to write things that are not specific for sound, for instance.
Uh-huh.
So in this case, I'm using a library called OpenCV. Maybe I can show you.
Uh-huh.
It's shown here. So this is the library.
Nie wiem, czy pamiętacie Panie, bo taki jest tytuł tego. Tam jest mowa o 3 językach. Żeby było jasne, my nie zmieniliśmy tematu wykładu. Natomiast mnie się bardzo podoba to, że Jura nam próbuje bardzo szybko pokazać, że są rzeczy bardzo przydatne, które możemy od razu wykorzystać i to kodowanie oczywiście daje nam możliwość przybliżenia się do całego systemu i wykonania pewnych rzeczy bez wielkiego też obciążania.
Właśnie.
Prawda? To jest jakby... Ja pamiętam, jak Jura przyjechał tutaj do Krakowa na Gaudę Polonie, so when he arrived here first time, he brought a very simple and small netbook and he was showing us really and video processing and all those kind of things which were really available with the top expensive computers. And I remember the moment when you decide to buy a Macintosh. I think that was like a strong moment for you that you are doing this because it was so
I
beautiful.
decided to buy this one.
And then you have another one.
Yeah, and this is ThinkPad.
Uh-huh.
So it's more like a... There are two camps, ThinkPad camp and Macintosh camp.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's, as I said, it's like a hacking a laptop in a way that we are moving to more irregular things or to get a very extra efficiency of the computer, not just standard coming to the system and what system offers. When you go a little bit down, then you are saving a lot of CPU power. Okay, but also coding is another logic. It's much more direct.
Yeah, and for me it's very creative and expressive. So it's also like a language that I use to express some kind of idea that then also the machine could execute. So it's an idea that is executable by a machine. So my main argument here is that so there are amazing instruments available in these general programming languages like Python or I don't know. OpenCV is also for C++, for other languages, also JavaScript, that we can use as an artist with our own specific instruments like SuperCollider or MaxMSP or Pure Data or whatever to achieve specific goals in our, when we're building something. So this thing was very simple. So this is the whole code you need in Python to recognize faces. So it's like, it's if you never programmed this looks scripted, but the idea that it's very little code. So it's very little code, and so even if you haven't programmed at all, right, you will recognize some common phrases like face detector here, right? So it's all of course it's something you have to learn, but it's not a very foreign thing, right?
But in general, you need a special skill or special ability for programming. That's like in general. It's not the same easy for everybody. So of course the thesis is that after the certain time of basic learning, you can be ready to go.
I'm not sure actually.
That's your opinion. You are very for you it's quite easy. That's why you understand.
But there is also about this absolute pitch. How do you call this in Polish? Czyli też są takie, there are studies that show that everybody could do it if they are in the correct conditions, or they. Of course, there are people who are tone deaf. So they are very indecisive. But there are people who are. It's called amusia. But in general, it's not something that only gifted, exceptional people. It's more like the situation you are in, and so I think programming is also similar. It's just like another language. So I don't think you have to be genius or you have to be especially gifted for this. I mean, you could be gifted for this, and you could do maybe, I don't know, maybe you could be more successful and things like that. But I mean, I think this is just as normal for human to do as speaking a language. But of course, this is subjective opinion. But I mean, this is more like, for me, it seems like it's what we are presented with. So like, there is another quote that as an engineer, when you engineer something, you engineer the user of it. So we were kind of engineered by the technology to assume that we are not capable of programming because the technology doesn't encourage us to do it. The default kind of. But if it did, we would be using it in a more creative way. So now I can jump into a more visual, a little bit visual exciting stuff. So because yesterday we were more like in depth into code and we were trying code, but today I think it's better to just give examples. And so so this was actually Python working together with Super Collider. So Super Collider was making the simple sound. This is the Super Collider part of it. Just so you can see that it fits on one screen. So already also it is important for me to show the idea of connecting different tools together, so they you can use the tool that is most efficient for this kind of task and together with another tool.
You can check it.
Okay. So here, this could be a little bit. So I was thinking maybe we could experiment a little bit with JavaScript, because every web browser it's a programming language. So you could use the browser as a kind of calculator, for instance. In Firefox, I think in Chrome also, if you hit, I have to close it and open it in English quickly. Would be better. So if you press F12, so you could get a window where you have this console button. So in Chrome it will be similar. And here you could, I don't know if you see this part of the screen. So you could do like 2 plus 2 and you will get a 4. So, but you
luckily.
So this is I'm just showing that it's just one button you press in a web browser and you have access to programming. So it's not something like very, you don't have to do a lot of complicated stuff to get into it. So now more exciting examples.
Java. I think so, because Java is able to browser.
I don't know.
Not Python, not Super Collider. For Super Collider you need to run Super Collider with the server.
Actually I can show you.
A w jakim to najlepiej robicie?
No, a co zapamiętaliśmy? W jakim systemie to było?
To było w Macu, tak? Znaczy w sensie...
No tak, ale to używaliśmy odwołania do Javy?
JavaScript.
JavaScript.
To nie ma znaczenia jaki system.
Java.
To działa this works in every web browser. So if you use Firefox or Chrome, I can show you how to do it.
Okay. Spokojnie, ale podejdę po wykładzie.
So maybe I'll show you another little
And the sense is to make a workshop. So the one lecture is a little bit too short.
So don't laugh. This is a work of my friend.
We love.
No, I mean, So this is a work of my friend. It's religious. It has a religious kind of mood.
Uh-huh.
So I helped him program it, and it works inside a web browser, and so it uses the only web browser, nothing else, and it also looks for the camera. So if you move in front of the camera, it will be like a wind over the cross. So
treasure. The lecturer.
It's really nice that we
Here in intermediate, we are dealing this, but sometimes
so
too slow.
so this is I want to say by this is that sometimes a web browser is enough for you. You don't need anything more special than a web browser to do something artistic. And actually, web
And
browsers now they could
And also
do,
camera is there.
yeah. So here
Okay.
I'm also okay. So just as in the case of the previous demo, I didn't have to write the algorithm to detect a face. I used a library that there was a lot of research. People published research. So this is like a algorithm that is part of the public domain of. So you just use things that are already there. So in this case, I used a library that uses this optical flow. Optical flow is just an algorithm to say to you what things move in an image, in which direction.
So you are using the light sensor,
No,
or
it's
you are
just
using the camera, but measuring only the brightness. Yes?
No, I'm using a library that the library would tell me that okay, in this part of the image there is movement in this direction.
Okay,
So
okay.
if I wanted, I
So
could do like,
trajectories,
I could do more points if I want.
Are there like a ready template?
It's a
trajectory?
library,
It's
so
a
it's
library,
just
okay,
a
okay,
module
okay.
you use. So
Okay, clear.
so and another library to create graphics. So it's not very hard. The idea is that you use instruments that are already there.
Okay. So, but I think to make it more clear, I think that we are now talking about the algorithms which translates certain things. So you are calling the library, which is like a translator.
Yeah.
Because I think those are also the very
Yeah,
important.
sorry. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
I use
when
words
we are
that
when
are
we are
obvious
very on
to
a
me.
very basic sensor as a controller, then we don't need to talk about library because it's like a one scale,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but when you go to the trajectories,
So
that's quite interesting.
so
Because
if you can
in old
also
times
try it if
we
you
had
want.
a system called
Move in front of the
BN,
camera to see. how
very
it
nervous
works.
system.
Maybe it
by
doesn't
David
work. Yeah,
Prokopy.
it works.
It was like a video capture,
Yeah. So
also with
what I was trying to say is that I
and then
use
movement
part of
with the
program that
colors.
is already there.
So
It's
you
free
have
to
these
use
libraries
to
already.
tell me where there is movement in the camera, and I only say what I want to do with the movement. I don't have to figure out how I can looking at the image how I can know what is the movement. So and now I just show you a couple of examples where in browsers you could do 3D graphics.
Now I'm media from our concert on Monday. Usually I'm doing this afterwards, but this time impossible.
So this is a little bit special. Actually, yeah, it's visible with the
That's great.
so what happens here is that it simulates water, real water, inside the web browser. So it simulates the physics of the water. Also, you have like balls on the water, and it does it on the graphical processor of the computer. So it uses graphical card to calculate physics of water, and it's all running inside the web browser. Free software, nothing, no paid software, expensive software, only free software. So, but this is less graphical. Maybe I can show you. So physics.
It's always like this. Screwing things. But you not believe if you find what he could
needs a little bit of time to download.
But in history there's a interesting, maybe you are in a computer games environment. There are groups of people who specialize on I think intro groups. They were initiated in 80s with Atari computers to make an intro to computer games. But then they extracted themselves and they are doing
I'm
only
waiting
intro.
because I want to show this example, but it's a little bit.
Not for the
It needs a
computer
little
game,
bit
but
of
just
time to
intro.
download, but it's very beautiful. So I
The
don't
limit
know.
is like
Like it.
128 kilobytes. This is the limit, and they are running like a group with this limit for years. They show what they could do with this limit.
Ale będziemy jutro.
Do jutra.
Okay, see you. No, it's somehow slow to download. Maybe I can open another tab.
Well,
Oh,
12 o'clock we are setting up things, so that will be great because then we know what we have, what we don't have, and that's the best just to help me with the beginning because then
Still downloading.
you know we have two choices. One choice is that I have somebody to help, and then we are building up everything, and then we start to just regular schedule like we come 5, 6. So Katarina with the three or the coming tomorrow.
2:30. She said.
I don't know.
Half past two.
Tomorrow in
Two-
WhatsApp
Yes, and
with Bartek and Zing.
I don't know. It's very communicate. You talk with them, and when they have a time, I will.
So
ask
let me
them.
know if you are really ready because I think that in this case we will be in trouble to make with
Today they
everybody
should
individual setting and
Today they should come at
yeah, then we can
17:30,
set.
so
Yes,
I
yes,
This
yes.
is
talk.
3D
That I
inside
will send the
browser.
letter to
So
everybody.
there is this library called
But I want to
3JS.
keep it fixed.
So
7
a
o'clock
JavaScript library for 3D
for
graphics.
everybody because that's the
So,
most efficient
actually, I'm
idea.
curious to
They're
try this
coming
on the
on
mobile
the end.
phone to see how
before
it
the concert.
will cope with that. But you know, you have quite
Exactly.
quite an amazing 3D graphics. You know, inside the normal browsers, real time. So you could use it, you know.
Imagine that
as-
he's doing this with
And the thing is that you could have this
Yeah,
as an
that's
installation, but also you could have this
Julia, I
on your
have idea
website.
with the things like
you
this.
know,
using,
like a
using
live
the
demo of
basic
the
codes,
installation. And
like
also you
Java,
could have this on a
like
mobile, you know, like when
by
people
the- I think so,
go and
because this
like
is,
I don't
think
know,
this is
interact with something.
because you know
they
when I
could,
see this
they
kind of
could
things,
work with
it
3D in their hand,
I
and then you
have
could have
one,
gyroscopes and everything. It will work inside the browser. So
application
it's really an interesting moment now.
special
where
designed for leap
we have all
motion.
of this stuff
So
inside
there's
the
a
browser.
3D environment
Without
and then
any
you are
plugins.
sculpting objects.
So there is
Space
another
and you
demo
change
here.
the
It's
background.
about
You can
physics.
go to Arctic or
Okay.
you can go to the jungle with the same object. Then you are creating, you know, according you can jump it, it can bounce it, it can
I know.
yeah. yeah.
So this is, you know,
Like
physics
show me.
simulations inside the cloth simulation inside browser.
No to jest niesamowite to co
No.
pokazujesz w tej chwili. I to są gotowe rzeczy.
To są po prostu przykłady, czyli to
Tak.
this is just examples
Mhm.
of a library called 3JS
Mhm.
for 3D graphics inside browsers. And yeah, so it's here you could see also physics. I think they use this is physics is done by this another library called AmoJS.
Mhm.
So yeah, I could move this thing into.
Mhm.
And in a minute I also show a little bit of sound. Let's see, there was another one I wanted to show you, but I forgot which one it was. Buffer geometry. Forgot which one. I don't know, let's see. This is more like very- so here as I understand it's more like so I'm not sure about this one, but it seems like this is our algorithmic geometry. So geometry that is computed in some way. I mean, forms, shapes that are computed by the GPU, so the graphics card. This was also here the one where they have standard, no, the standard thing. Lightning strike, this one. So yeah. So kind of like generated lightning. So yeah, so here I'm just showing that you could use browsers also to do this kind of stuff. And maybe the last part. Let's see where I have it. So this is to show the fact that in browsers you also have oscillators and filters built in. So here it's like so there was this web audio API that appeared in web browsers a couple of years ago, and the idea is that we don't only have hypertext, but now it's like hypermedia. So yeah, so this is how historically how it looked. So we had first HTML, so only text, then the image tag appears, so we started having images, then JavaScript, that animated GIFs. This is very interesting actually, because the animated GIFs, there was a whole kind of like culture around it. So at first they were kind of like they had only little amount of colors, then they became full color, were transparent, then they be like photos, photos. So it's a whole kind of culturological research you could do on animated GIFs alone. Then HTML5. So HTML5 is a new kind of standard that is currently the way the web works. And then WebGL. So WebGL is what we've seen just now. So the 3D graphics inside browsers, and also later Web Audio API that allows you to generate sound inside of browsers. So here it's important to distinguish plain audio files, which is this one. So like you create a web page and you include a audio file, from generating audio. So here I'm talking about generating audio. So this is just an example of like introduction to JavaScript. I probably skip this all. And here this is like a simple fragment of code that will generate a sine wave, but I don't hear it because I have blocked my sound card with another one. So I have to unblock the sound here. So yeah, so this piece of code generates me some sine wave in a web browser. So now I will stop it. I will move next. So yeah, so here maybe I can just focus on this a little bit. So here we have two important pieces. One of them is piece. So new audio context is like a new patch, new window in Max. So yeah, the browser has to know that this kind of object, it belongs to this kind of piece, this kind of window. And this is the oscillator. So we create a new oscillator and we start the oscillator, and then we connect the oscillator to the output, sound output of the window we are working on. And here I'm just, so important thing is that this web audio is not very how to say this, it's not very good to work directly. So it's more like for you to know that it is there, you can use it, but actually if you want to build complex things with it, you would probably use some kind of library, like in the case of 3JS, it's another one where it's to make easier to work with 3D. So the same thing applies here. There are many libraries to work with web audio. So library is just a program that you use inside some kind of task to help you achieve something. So this is, I'm using directly, I'm working directly with web audio to just show that it's there. But later on I will show also a library. So this is just more oscillators, boring sine waves. So it's like I'm multiplying some frequency by these numbers. I'm going to skip faster because it's not this is quieter because I'm adding a filter here. So you already see that this looks slightly too much code. I mean, in Super Collider this would be like 2 lines of code. In JavaScript, in WebAudio, it's more like you say a lot of stuff. But if you use a library, it becomes simple. Here I do a modulation, so I can make it faster by editing this, or like do like just an example. Fem modulation, and here at this point I use a library. So you already see that if I use the library, it's only 2 lines of code, 3 lines of code. So I load the sample and I play it. Boring. But now I can do more complicated stuff with it. So it's the same sample. So I use like a granular synthesis, so I layer a lot of them on top of each other with random speeds. Yeah, I could listen to this for a while. So yeah, this is about web audio API. So as you can see, we can do 3D, we can track camera movements, we can generate audio. We could also do like transmissions, so we could live stream video inside browser to somewhere else, things like that. And it's all it's all open source and free software and open specifications. So it's not something that only a single company owns and controls. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I mean, I could go deeper into any of these things. Well, maybe you have some questions.
Yeah, but because we have certain languages of programming like MaxMSP, Pure Data, and you mentioned since yesterday Super Collider. So you are talking about coded programming, and we have this object-oriented programming, which is like another concept. Seems to be easier, but we doubt it all the time because they're different. So what is your opinion about
So
putting them together, thinking about the goal?
Yeah.
Different approach, but we want to get the similar result.
Yeah.
Because we are choosing different tools for different environment and for different purposes, for different projects. So the question is whether it's always like choosing a best one for that, a best one for that. You understand what I mean?
I think it's
Because when you show
yeah.
the kind of ready-made scripts, which in many cases are forgotten for normal use, you know,
Yeah.
people are rather going to those languages.
Yeah. So for me, it's not like one or nothing. I mean, it's not like 0 or 1. It's not. So for instance, when I work in Super Collider, I still think in this kind of connections like you have in Pure Data or Max. But I use the language to say what connections I want. So if I want many connections, that it's faster for me personally to write it in code, because the code will do many things automatically for me, like duplicate many copies of something, or kind of like create connections between objects more easy than if I had to do it by hand. But I think because I started in Pure Data first, so it was important for me to work in this way at the beginning, to be able to visualize it, to understand this, what kind of connection between oscillator produces what kind of result. So and actually I think I would still use Pure Data for some kind of tasks where I want to have like many sliders, for instance, you know, and things like that. And also in SuperCollider I have user interface if I need. So
Yes.
in general, I think it's best when you have both and you can use both for the thing that works best. So also you have many programs, for instance Blender 3D program, where you could write in Python. You could write certain things that would be easier to write than do by hand, but it's still a mouse. You manipulate objects, so you could connect these two things together, I think. Also, in Max or in Pure Data, you have this expression expert objects where you could write things. I think someone showed me. I think it was Mono Lake. He showed me because he has this complicated Max patch where he controls lasers. So maybe you know, some of you know Ableton Live. So Monolake is the author, one of the
Max
authors.
for Life is for Max for Life, Monolake.
No, Monolake is a musician.
Okay, but it is made
Maybe.
Yeah, there's
Max for
another
Max for Life.
another space is Max for Life.
Yeah.
It's just,
So he's using Max inside Ableton.
Yeah.
But when controlling the lasers, what he does is he uses some kind of special language inside Max that is like code language to do certain parts of it. That so it's like you connect different approaches.
Yeah. It's really very interesting. So it's a presentation. It was last year, 2
Mhm.
years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It's very interesting how he visualized sound. So he used a lot of simple sounds. I mean, like the sine waves or like the square waves and so on, and like every sound which he connect directly the output to the speaker. Both he split the sound. One is going to the speaker, and another is going directly to the laser. And depending on the form of sound wave, the laser draw in real time different figures, the different shapes. So like just for creating the circle, he put the sinusoidal sound, and he explained it like it's really fantastically. So it's really like the visual presentation of sound, which is very interesting. And of course he create this very interesting atmosphere on the border between like conceptual art or more like the EDM, something like that, and with this 3P stuff with these lasers, which is really cool.
Another musician, so they are part. This is another thing I wanted to show you, but anyway. So what he does is he writes patches in Pure Data that create another patches. So patch in Pure Data that generates patch. So another approach. So maybe this is like a nice.
And the general question also about Lviv, but the other, how does it work in a society, in your city? Because we have the academies, Lysenko academies in Lviv, Academy of Music in Krakow. Then we have some other stuff like Fine Arts Academy, Intermedia, and then what about clubbing space and the people which are connected more with the alternative environment, they are not connected with the academic centers. How does it work in Lviv? Since I experienced something during my visit also in Kiev, so that's what is quite interesting for me.
Yeah,
What is the division between, or what is the link? Do you have a certain activity to make things going together, or?
So Miroslav Trofimuk is passionate about connecting these groups of people. So, but I think in Lviv there is not really like experimental clubbing, or it's not. So if you are talking about club music in Lviv, it's
Yeah.
more like DJs.
Yeah.
So not
So
people who.
I think I think that the community which we have, it's like the 5 people, which is like
But there,
around
but
the
there are also
studio.
people who work with modular synthesizers.
Yeah.
But they are more like they play in Kyiv, they play in Europe somewhere. I mean, they
Mhm.
don't. There is no scene in Lviv for.
I think that it's really very interesting question. So in Kiev, there are really huge community. There are a lot of people, but in Kiev there are very strict this division between this very pure studio, where Allah introduced all this earcam stuff, and you should use only this, earcam things to be the really part of the studio. And also there are a lot of these other more clubby activities, like like Potopalski, which have
Yeah,
in
that's what I wanted
Livka, this
to ask him. But he's just exceptional, also from the political event. He's
Yeah.
still in a prison.
No.
No, in a way that he has to stay in Ukraine and he cannot come back to Georgia.
Yes.
That was what was his life problem.
yeah.
Still
I
like
think
this.
It's still like this.
Still,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, nothing special,
Uh,
but in fact, it's something. The guy from Georgia, he landed in
Not from
Ukraine.
Georgia,
Oh,
from Russia.
from Russia.
Potopalski is from Russia.
Yes.
Or maybe I'm talking about another person from very, very much connected with Allah.
It's
Helping
Potopalski.
Potopalski is from Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that he's from Tbilisi.
No, he's from Russia, and yeah, so it's like he flew Russia.
Yeah, so no, then I understand.
Yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit
So
with
the thing,
with Daniel Persovitz, similar things. He's the Russian citizen living
Yeah.
in Ukraine, so to come back is not quite clear, whether you should or you can, or at the
yeah.
moment.
So there are, but I think that in Kiev it's really a lot of these communities,
Mhm.
but it seems that they're more divided, because in Lviv all these communities are very small. So actually, I think it's really very strange that we have like quite conservative academy, like probably like here, like very typical construction of this music academy with all this 200 years of tradition and so on, starting from Chopin.
130.
Okay, so yeah, in Lviv we are
The
much
building,
older.
the building,
sorry.
Kraków Conservatory was founded 130 years ago.
Yeah, so in Lviv we are much older. We started from 40s of 1840s.
From-
Yeah.
From
From Franz Xaver Mozart, the youngest son of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Yeah. Okay, so with
But
this,
but I also I see. So for instance, this festival in Ternopil,
yeah,
they have more like they connect different groups.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah,
have
like
techno, and you have
yeah.
Kotra Zavoloka, and you have Me Life Coding. So it's,
You had because they are in Vienna. Yes, now.
sorry.
Kotra and Katja is in Vienna. They
Yeah,
they live in
they-
Vienna now.
So they come to the festival. Also.
Okay.
So it's like different people. And for instance, I met a person from Kyiv
Mhm.
who is more. So she plays electronic music, but she's not from the music academy.
Mhm.
She's not also from club scene,
Mhm.
but they are connected to Plivka. This maybe you know Plivka.
Yeah, I played there. Yes.
Yeah. So and also they Oramix in Warsaw, Oramix workshop, or how they call it. So they invited her. So it's like there is some kind
That's
of
what I'm talking. And in fact, Mirosław tried also even to collect those places. That was his research
yeah.
to make this hypertext structure
Yeah.
to show how does it.
yeah.
I think that now in Lviv it's very interesting because we have a like very strong connection with more with visual arts. So now they also finally opened the department of actual media and actual artistic practices. It's called like a very long and strange name. So they opened this department, and Mikhailo Barabar, Serhii Petluk, Serhii Horoshko, a lot of artists which whom we usually work together, and also what the Yurko shows some this project coding. So very often they ask Yurko to code something to help with realizing some interactive installations or something like that. And I think that we have these small groups in different not only musicians but the visual artists, just activists who are very connected to the art, but whose main work is programming on some IT company or something like that. And we have this interconnection between these different groups, but I think there are no sensu stricte huge musical community in our studio.
I have to tell a story because now I could get back to this image. Actually, there is a guy in Lviv. We call him Markian. Nobody knows his last name. So he's kind of this mythical figure who never gets older. He's so I met him and he told me this story because he's also does electronic music, but does electronic music at home, so that in the beginning of 2000s or late 90s they were riding some kind of thing similar to this, like a car with speakers, playing some kind of electronic music on the street, and he was saying that there were people who would lie down on the road to protest it, So he says no, Lviv is not ready for electronic music, and also Kotra and Zavoloka, they had some failed projects in Lviv.
Oh yeah. But I think the main problem was the loud sound. So that definitely in Lviv people
loud
do
sound,
not
loud
like
sound
loud sound.
Well, then Yuri Sharipov.
Yeah, Yuri Sharipov, he
was another example.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in general, when you go to our concerts, which we organize, there are very rarely you can hear really loud moments. So usually it's very comfortable for listening. So everybody are invited to Lviv to listen very comfortable, soft sounds.
Yeah, we should continue this lecture until the moment nobody
Yes.
will hear. We'll see
I
how
think
long
the
we
background
can do it like this.
So the background music is
Officially, it's over.
Yes.
Yeah.
At 4.
Yeah.
But from our plan, it's we slowly, in an invisible way, switch from lecture to seminar.
Yeah.
Now we are already in a seminar. We are already in a seminar part. We can even check whether we can make a coffee break.
Yeah, I think it might be
Or
very good
not.
idea to have a coffee break or
I have
even
a question before I want to go.
lunch
Yes.
break.
Before coffee break.
Okay.
When I want to start doing this magic, what happens here today, which type of programming I should start?
Well,
Java,
mostly the free
Python.
programming. Like Java is already inside the browser. Super Collider.
It all depends on, it's it should be something, because it's best for me, I think it's best to also have some idea to try to do, and then you will learn as you go. But in general, Python is one of the languages that is recommended for beginners.
And that was the only thing you could do.
And the philosophy of Python is to be readable, so that it's has to be very transparent what you write, but in the same time it's very powerful, so you could do a lot of really amazing stuff on Python.
Hundreds.
So maybe, I don't know, there is a lot of great resources on Python. I myself started with this one.
This is something dangerous.
1 second.
When we show something like a cookie, and then we are gone because he's gone. He will move to Prague, and then of course in the media we have Piotr Madej, we have Łukasz Furman, we have several guys which are doing this, but not here. So with one guy, I don't know
Also,
whether you met him.
I think
I
We
will
know
have to
Paweł
find
is
it, 'cause
sometimes
it was
in
a
this
specific
room. So he's
tutorial
won't
for
fight
people
with
who
Super
have
Collider,
never
but
programmed,
not
and
not
it
now.
shows at the same time in parallel it shows you Python and JavaScript. So it goes from very basic ideas, and it's not very big. So, but I can find it like this quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Also, I don't know, Nazar. Maybe it's more like on your side, your experience. I think there are really amazing this course CS50 Harvard course.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, I highly recommend it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just you just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, my
They
friends
start
Yes,
also.
from jak to называется, мама?
Ah,
Scratch,
from
yeah?
scratch. Yeah.
Yes.
So they
It's
start from
graphical
scratch.
language and
Uh-huh.
it's very simple. Even
Okay.
kids can,
Yeah,
can
for
do it.
like for making
For making
like funny
simple
anime.
animation, yeah, funny
Yeah,
animation.
funny animation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this CS50. Yeah.
So the idea of the CS50 course is that they teach people who are not going to be. I mean, it's for people whose main profession is not programmers.
Mhm.
It's like their second. How they call it?
Yeah, so
Major,
they call
minor?
it minor. Yeah, so
Minor.
like minor or even just a course which people take on the university, and it's really very good. I think because it's present the philosophy. Let's call it like philosophy of programming or like.
Right to
Yeah.
thinking, you know, because it's different right to think.
Yeah, so the understanding, because I think that the main problem with programming that you should like clearly understand this sequence of steps which you should do, and like working with different type of information and inputs and outputs. So you should have like this. Usually it's a typical sequence of some commands or something like that.
So since Professor Zich came here, I think we can start a seminar which was announced, and that would be quite interesting. But in fact, Wojtek, we go through the basic of Super Collider yesterday. Then today we were talking about basic tools inside JavaScript, inside things where, and now we play something on the background.
Jeśli pan tego nie znalazł, to nie szkodzi, to jakoś zapytam profesora o kontakt do pana i
Już znalazłem to.
Tak? Okej, dobra.
No bo oczywiście poziom arbitralności jest dość wysoki w tej chwili, to znaczy tak, że ty nam pokazujesz coś, co jest szalenie interesujące, ale za chwileczkę znikasz. Pani jest tym zainteresowana i teraz jedyne co możemy zrobić to skontaktować się, albo ja panią mogę w tym momencie zainteresować, żeby przeszła do nas na studia na Intermedia, bo tam takimi rzeczami się zajmujemy i to są te klimaty troszeczkę.
Rozumiem.
U nas kiedyś jest dalej, ale niewielka jest grupa programowania makro MSP i to akurat w tym roku jest takie zatrzymanie. No i teraz jeżeli ktoś z indywidualnych studentów pracuje nad danym projektem, to jest zupełnie inna sytuacja. I to znowu, to jest dla Pani, bo gdyby Pani była na Wydziale Pierwszym, to też nie byłoby to oczywiste, że Pani od razu w to wskakuje, bo u nas jest kilka tych bloków. I na zajęciach z podstaw muzyki elektroakustycznej mówimy o podstawach i dopiero później na tym drugim etapie wchodzimy w
Ja
programowanie.
rozumiem. Dlatego pytam o podstawy.
No tak, bardzo dobrze. Nie, dlatego ja wyjaśniłem na samym początku, bo widziałem, że wy we trójkę jesteście troszkę zaskoczone. Tu reszta są kompozytorzy, którzy trochę z tym mają do czynienia i już używają tego w różnych swoich projektach. Natomiast ty z kolei, wiesz, pokazałeś nam taki bardzo ważny skrót, taki shortcut.
Tak.
Właśnie, że opuszczamy nagle te języki programowania i wchodzimy w coś, co jest wokół nas, co jest dostępne na każdym komputerze i naprawdę to wymaga oczywiście dość, przynajmniej tej podstawowej wiedzy, prawda, żeby się za to zabrać.
No,
needed
like actually, like yesterday, what we did was we draw the like 5 basic elements on the whiteboard,
Mhm.
you know, and after that it's like becomes half half of the complexity goes away
Mhm.
because it's very like not a lot of elements.
Mhm.
So it's much simpler than other.
Dziękuję za ten szybki rzut.
Nie, no więc jest kontakt.
No.
Z Juriem Bójką jest bardzo
Okej,
łatwy,
dobra.
także możemy to w ten sposób też,
Tak, coś tu
też zrobić.
będę szukać. Dobra, to dziękuję bardzo.
Dzięki
Dobrej
bardzo.
przerwy na kawę.
No więc właśnie, bo ja tutaj zaproponowałem przed chwilą, bo byśmy tak naprawdę dopiero w tym momencie skończyli ten pierwszy wykład i tak patrzę, jaki jest entuzjazm. So are you interested to make a break or you want to continue? We have to make a break.
No, we can make a break.
Yes, we have to make a break.
So I think like 15 minutes. I think it would be
Yeah.
the correct. The opinion. Are we working now with your piece? Yes, in another place. I'm strong. I don't need the coffee break because we have a concert tomorrow. There's still a lot of things to do. So
Maybe
that's
not 15, maybe 5 minutes.
no, that's okay. We get the coffee from the machine downstairs. Don't worry. It's not like this. But we have the meeting 5:30. 5:30, 5:30. Okay. And it's fixed with Bartek and with Zing. Okay. What about you, William? How? Króciutka przerwa. Aha, to Wojtek przyszedł po Katarinę tak naprawdę.
Ale ja przepraszam tego.
No dobrze. Nie, wszystko jest najprościej niż myślimy. Wszystko jest prościej. Włączcie światło na chwilę, to będzie też od razu jaśniej. I od razu się wszystko wyjaśni. Zobaczcie, od razu jest.
Yeah, because I
Katarina
was...
said that
Everything
there
is
will
much
be a
more easy.
lecture of Manuel, so just I was curious and just.
Gdzieś na lekcję do profesora Zycha w tej chwili.
But still we
No, to wszystko się zgadza. Nie. Okej.
So, would you?
So there was misunderstanding. He didn't come for the lecture, he just came for his student. Where is she? And then she see it was very calm, but when I announced break, she had to go directly. But the coffee break was correct. I think. Anyway.
Right. So, do we need to meet later? I feel like.
Yeah,
since-
no, that's a question. That's a question because I have this 2 minutes piece, and then for tomorrow I still need to know exactly whether the 3 of composers they can meet at 6 o'clock because it's not still confirmed. We have this at 7 o'clock. We have the
Yeah,
all
the meeting.
students for the last piece. You know, I want to be practical. If 15 people are coming, the best when they're coming before the concert, because you understand. And then with solo, with individual, we can meet for exact time.
Mm.
But then these 3 composers, they include Katarina, Bartek, and Zink, and they have like a separate piece. But Katarina and Bartek made a film for the last piece. Zink didn't make anything. He didn't appear, which is not a complaint toward him, but practical thing. So he's coming for rehearsal
Okay.
today, 5:30, and then I can ask them exactly when you can meet tomorrow. The question is about you. Do you need something to consider today, or you need only to come tomorrow? And how much time do you need for tomorrow?
Well, I think I don't think I need to use any time today. Just
Okay.
because my thing's already finished, it's
Okay.
fixed. So I feel like the time could be better used.
But is it the medium we are playing, or you are playing with the medium live, or because in the program it seems to be that there's a strange kind of performance called kado.
Right.
You know.
It'll just be fixed in
Fixed,
concert.
Okay. So you are not showing up, but you can sit somewhere, and I can put the lamp toward your face.
Yeah, that works. That works.
Because I will not do it to Delkin. With Delkin, it's just opposite. We want to hide her and nobody know where is she, and they will be live, but you know, well, it's 3. That is just opposite.
It
So
is the
that's why I
opposite.
want to make
Okay. Well,
the order is fixed, you know.
well, tomorrow I guess I can show up at 5. Is that what we
Okay.
agreed on?
Mhm.
I think. Okay, that'll work.
You can come also, I think later. You can, if you need like half an hour or 15 minutes, you can come before 7, because at 7 we start this big rehearsal. So
Yeah.
to be not coming back and forth and back and forth. But anyway, you know, the concert started 8:30, so we can go through this risk that you are coming at 8.
Okay. Well, I
Or you are coming directly to the concert,
Yeah.
and then we play your piece.
Amazing.
well.
This is perhaps the easiest way.
Okay, I'll probably come around 7 then.
Okay.
Okay, that makes the most sense.
We're supposed to have a lecture at 4 with Zhich. I come and said like I want to stay in the lecture if it's possible, because I should prepare orchestration, but not this time, the next time. I just need to
That
set
was
him
super.
like
Was
this
super
one.
that he
And
was
he
here.
said like, okay, I will go with you. I said like, but I don't know what
Maybe
is
my
will be
mistake was
lecture.
that I announced a break, because if I would not announce the break, he will sit here.
But we
with
don't
us
have
longer.
a lecture, you know, after. And I said like I didn't expect that he coming with me, because I said like in A6, but it's electronic maybe stuff. I don't know. Okay, but I'm interested. Okay, and and I don't know what to do in this case.
No, that's correct. In fact, to be honest, but that would be like a bad joke now, you know.
Are you streaming?
Yes. Okay. So let's take it.
It's still streaming.
But we didn't. I think we didn't mention the name, so we don't know
Yeah.
who,
Well, we did.
who we are talking about.
At some point.
So no. But here's an excellent piece with electronics, but made during his study.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's really great, because Wojtek is a member of Polish Society for Electroacoustic Music. But in fact, this is the only connection with the electronics, which is like a eliter story, soliloquium for clarinet and live electronics, processing clarinet and fixed media. So that is, I think, 2003. So I think it was made on Maui, the first version of
Mhm.
Maui, you know, in Macos 9, old times.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe a little bit later. No, I'm wrong, because Polish Society was founded in 2005. So not so early, not 2003, but perhaps 2005. So like 14 years ago, or 24, 14.
14.
How old I am? 80 or 70? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was.
I look like 90, but I'm only 65, or maybe opposite.
Yes. Yeah.
So it seems to be like a lecture now.
Okay. Is it still? Maybe you can go upstairs. I don't know.
Yes. Because the question to you, Deokin, are you busy afterwards? It would be like your professor coming to pick you up, or
No.
no? Well, nobody who will pick you up, or you have.
I don't have.
Because in this case, what is the proposal by Yuri, that we go for the coffee upstairs, and then it will be a little bit longer break. But I'm also okay to get the coffee from the machine, and we can go to another room, because then
Sure.
I think you can stay here
Okay.
to run a certain seminar around the subjects,
Okay.
or to really certain.
I mean, because I think the format of it is very free.
Well, when there's a seminar, like a regular academic seminar, we should assign we should call it, this is a master class.
Uh-huh.
This is a master class, so each of you should show your work to the professor,
Okay.
and then discuss with him, and then wait for the comments, from him, and then he will tell you
Bad.
what you should fix it, and what would be better. And of course told, well, you don't need to use it, Max and all the kind of things. You can run it from terminal level
Yeah,
even. And you don't need computer.
yeah.
So is it correct like that?
Well, I don't know. Because I don't know. I mean, for me it's whatever works.
No, because all of them, they are composers here now. So all of us, we are advanced on certain level. So you can don't worry, because my concept is that we live in a
That we what?
And we leave to another studio and we finish her piece for tomorrow.
Okay. Can we do this
Yes.
Pieczątko?
It's here.
Great. Let me see.
Pieczątka is waiting for you.
Okay, so it should be here.
Let's go to.
Should be here. And here.
Nice sound.
Thank you.
More? I should make it controlled by Arduino or something like that,
Yeah,
We have in the Philharmonic we have some not fake ones but kind of not it's like it says with greetings from the Philharmonic and nobody uses it. Yeah. Nobody uses it, so the kids play with it, so it stamped everything.
It seems it's not really serious. Yeah, I don't know what to do. And all is webcasted live, so it's, come on.
Okay, so yeah, I'm a bit confused what we can do next. So maybe
No, it's we are open because as is written, but that's why I was suggesting some controversial solutions. Because when we don't have the clear plan, it's good to go to the very weird.
yeah. So I don't know. Who would like to go upstairs and maybe even eat something and talk? I don't
That
know.
would be the best seminar, I think, ever.